You are with us. Okay, so what are we talking about here, Neil? Exactly.
Okay, we're discussing the stock that we've all been running up and down about TRKA.
Okay.
I was looking at this the other day and had noticed you had a lot of listeners who had gone and purchased this and was using it. Uh, you know me, when I first look at a stock and do my DD, I go to what site? Jonathan?
Naked short report. I'm
Right.
sorry. I didn't realize that you were asking me a question there. My apologies.
Oh, yeah, I'm interactive. But as soon as you go to it, it's at 58%.
Here,
So
we'll
they're
pull it up right
they're
now.
running. Yeah.
Let's see. What did it read today or last night? Let's see. All right. Yep. Just under 58. Day prior, 53.8. Day before that, just under 53. I mean, it's above 50 most of the days here.
Right. And when you look at level two,
Uh huh.
you get a ton of that FINA market naked shares coming in. You know, the dark pool stuff.
So
So
that would be like the TRF orders that we're constantly seeing.
yeah,
Okay.
and that's that this exemplifies what everyone's been talking about, what they were talking about on that radio broadcast, what
Mm-hmm.
Alan's trying to do, you
Mm-hmm.
know, in his court case. So this is one of those that's getting banged, right?
Okay.
And normally I wouldn't buy it because of that.
Okay.
But like I said, since I was thinking this makes a good teaching point, I should have skin in the game when I come in and talk to you guys about that.
Yeah, I
So
I personally didn't buy the run up because Mike was buying it in like the low teens, so I just felt like I was late, and you know how I am when I feel like I'm late. I just move on to something else, and then
right,
it got that hard shot down before the news dropped, and I thought it was going to be a bull trap. Turns off it was a sell off. So then I just I started buying every major dip, and now I'm mid 20s on my average, which isn't awful for something with the revenue that it has, but it turned into a trade that I wasn't really expecting on taking.
well, see, I had to look at it and then evaluate where had they been.
Uh-huh.
Now, what was their rhythm? Did it look like their game plan? And you could see where they were coming down. I thought the initial down yesterday was going to be their level,
Mm-hmm.
the level. Then they took it down again. Then
I
I said,
it,
okay,
it
that
it
looks
got to
like,
levels where I just had to keep buying it, you know?
and see that's my point. When you get to something that's like this, and you've already got skin in the game,
Uh-huh.
you're going to need to find a way to maximize your return on your investment.
Exactly.
Okay, so buying those levels as it goes down, you know, if it's probably a good idea when you're, for everyone out there that's looking at that or has this sort of issue with the stock, is maybe see if it's going to go down a couple of levels. Where's it going to bottom? It looks like it bottomed at the high 19s.
I
Around
got
the
I
19.
I got some really nice bottom fills. So yeah, I
Yeah.
mean we could go back and back test and obviously run the record back and look back
Right.
at that. But Well, I just have another thing for you, Neil. Can you just go ahead and justify the GAN fan that I have? Like, this is a legit drawing, and you know, I didn't just make this up, right, Neil? Like, you've heard of a GAN
Right.
fan
I,
before?
I understand, and yeah,
Okay.
it's uh, and it's good to for indicators, and that's what it is. It's just an indicator.
Yeah, it's not perfect, but I mean, I try to use things as they're designed for, but a lot of people probably aren't used to them. And when they look at this video later, they're gonna be like, "What the heck is his chart looking like that for?" So I just wanted to like clear that up.
Yeah, and it's a legit thing. It's used by a lot of people. It's just a matter of preference
Mm-hmm.
on these things. What I was looking at is I was wondering if when I said I want to check the algorithm and the AI on your charting,
Mm-hmm.
what I was trying to get to is it's the chart itself, or the indicators on the chart keeping up with what's really going on. Because I'll spend my time on a stock like this looking at level 2 at the 1 minute or less.
Uh-huh.
If you guys can get 1 second on this particular app.
I think that Alan has it set to like instantaneous buy pressure and sell pressure.
Right. And so there are different ways. Well, if I'm looking at level 2, I can see what's happening right now.
Yeah,
Because I can see those buy orders.
I almost feel the same way about looking at some of these EMAs. Like some of the indicators almost seem like they're like a little bit like overkill, if that makes sense. But I mean, like I look at the EMAs and I feel like I could sense whatever move is about to happen, and then the other indicators light up and then just give me that confirmation.
Right. And that's what I was trying to crosswalk between
Yeah.
what's happening right now on level 2 versus what's showing on the AI part of the chart. Is
Mm-hmm.
the AI have enough leading, is it a leading indicator or is it going to be a trailing indicator? And, if one's a leading indicator, then that is super valuable because it tells you beforehand.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Absolutely. I mean, well, that's almost like what's called. That's almost like watching Bitcoin and then how we were watching SPY. You know what I mean?
right. And that, like I said, gives you the an indicator, and I was trying to crosswalk that to see if we were getting that. What I found though is we can get a quicker indicator by just looking at level 2 because it seems that this is a trailing indicator.
Oh, okay, it's trailing. All right, I was under the impression it was instantaneous. So I'll have to get on Alex's case about that.
It is. It is. But if you're seeing it right now on level 2, then you know it's happening. In other words, suddenly the buy chart has 1,100 share buys, and it's all going down, all red. They're trying to drive the price down.
Of course.
And that tells me, at that point, they're going to go down to whatever point, and then they're going to cover.
Okay.
So my point on shorting the shorts was just before they get to that base point, to already have an order sitting there. So all I have to do is plug in a limit price that's just slightly above it because you want it to be able to cover. You want your
You want to get
order
filled.
to be able to cover. Yeah.
Yeah.
or sell or buy or whatever it may be. So on the bottom side, it's going to be a buy. On the high side, it's going to be that sell. And try and go from there. But just watching these guys over time, I know that eventually they're going to get back up to what I consider my buy price.
Okay.
So I wasn't worried about buying the stock and having the price go down because I'd already seen their patterns on this thing.
I mean, there's been a few tickers where, like, and this is just something that I've noticed, where they'd come down and they'd start to cup out, right? And then it would almost just be like loading into them right as they were starting to, cup like the tiniest little bit, and they would just explode in percentage. And I mean, we've been hitting them nonstop like that, and I felt like after the sell off on this, after like the original run up, I felt like this almost presented a very similar opportunity.
Yeah, and that's why I saw the same thing on the sales. It's like an instantaneous 1,000 buys or 1,000 sells across one platform,
Mm-hmm.
and they're using the computer to do all this stuff. So they're a little more sophisticated than your average short.
Absolutely.
And that's where I'm seeing a large corporation. It wouldn't surprise me in the least bit if, Citadel or one of those guys was shorting this, BlackRock, any number of them.
Okay.
And they can, as long as they can control the price, they're going to make money. Now, having the way you have to make money is, one, not worry about where the price is.
Yeah. Yeah, just sticking to my plan and just obviously focusing on execution.
Right. And buying those bottoms.
Yeah, buying the bottoms, buy the dip, sell the rip, right?
And yes, or if you had bought the bottom, all right, and not had any other entries up higher, then that rip today would have been a 2 cent maybe profit.
Well, yeah, I mean accumulation at these types of prices across the board. I mean, there's just so many things at such low prices, in my opinion, that accumulation is key. I could be mistaken, but I think that accumulation's key, and then later on you could sell calls against it if you really felt like it. You know what I mean? But
and that's true. But from a futuristic standpoint, I'm looking at when buy in April, go away in May. I think everyone's going to go away, and it's going to be a downturn market at that time. I think we'll actually see everyone really realize that we already are in a recession, and it's going to hit harder. I think some of the little indicators of these banks, and then it's going to continue, in a domino effect.
Doesn't that kill you though when they how they're
look at that drop.
Yep.
See, that's a computer sell-off.
Yeah, and then right back up too.
Right. Yeah. So either he's trying to or was trying to get the shortstops.
Yeah.
Or here we go. He just sold off, and now they're buying back up to cover.
And they sold off right below this prior low right here too. They sold off just below, so then they'd kill these stops down here.
Yep.
They're so grimy.
So they may take it down more.
Yeah.
We may be buying this at a penny.
I mean,
I don't know.
in all honesty, for a company that had a 1,200% growth in revenue, if I could buy it for a penny, I would sell just about every asset that I have. And obviously,
Yeah.
not financial advice, but
Okay. Well, yeah. But here's back to my other point about recession.
yeah.
What sort of companies are impacted in a recession?
Well,
What's going to get cut off?
I could mainly, so I try to focus on the ones that aren't affected by a recession, and I could tell you that a lot of them are financials, okay, including insurance, national defense, and some consumer discretionary, correct?
Right.
And then I believe there's one more, and it's slipping my tongue. Um, I'm sure you know it off. I'm sure that you know it, but it's just slipping my tongue right this second. There's
Yeah, I'm, and it's, but you're correct in that, in what you're saying. But now is a media company which has to live off of someone else's good graces. In other words, you got to go sell this to big companies. Is that now going to be a product that is going to be necessary for operations during a recession?
so here's my argument against that, and then I kind of want to see what your feedback is. Okay, so you and I both know that we are already in a technical recession for probably what, like the last 2 quarters. Okay,
Right.
if they, I mean, they just keep changing the definition, right? So we're already in a technical recession. Now, media companies, I used to actually own, an advertisement firm, okay? So I'm well aware that they are low overhead and high revenue, which are two things that I look for, right? So low overhead, high revenue, and it doesn't really take that many employees in order to do things these days, especially with AI, right? Um,
Right.
so I'm just thinking that they're going to be doing a decent amount of media work for some of these growing companies that are going to be coming out of this quote unquote recession. And at the end of the day, they're really not going to have
But
too many bills.
your key word there is coming out of,
Okay.
not going in worse.
Yep.
So that puts this as, riskier investment, given the thought if we do go into a severe one, and we're way overdue.
Yeah. I mean, it's really rough. I'm just. I mean, I call me a conspiracy theorist, right? But today, I believe, is the 1 year mark since they crashed the London Metal Exchange with nickel, right? And then
Right.
also today is also the Ides of March, and then
Wow,
and then
that's right. I forgot about that.
and then on top of that, we have the Witching Day on Friday.
Yes, and I still, God, I lost my train of thought. I apologize.
No, you're okay.
Yeah, I just said a Freudian elation. You get those when you hit 50. But anyway, so back to TRKA. This one is making money now,
Yeah.
and the shorts are driving it down more.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like. So I'm going to probably buy a little more down here I'm not going to invest too much more into it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got into it more from the standpoint of being able to come in and say, okay, let's use this as a teaching point.
No, and believe me, we definitely appreciate it. I feel a lot more confident taking positions. Like obviously, I have confidence in my own decision making, but when
that's the only person you should make the
oh
decision for.
absolutely. But let me tell you, when I decide upon something and then you go ahead and you second it, right? I probably feel about twice as confident.
Well, like I said, this particular stock
uh,
has the capability to, as a teaching point, to show a whole bunch of different things. One, how these shorts are driving down, how you can actually get in between those. Because you can see right here, they kind of bottomed out. Now, they're going to have to drive it back up at some time.
You would think because you would think I have this horizontal here, and then I'm looking at the MACD. You would think that it's gonna want some upwards pressure. The RSI is kind of cool.
Right. So looking just at today's chart, if someone were day trading, they wanted to buy first thing this morning.
Oh, they would have taken it. They would have taken it right where I got that bottom fill for sure.
Right, and then they wanted to sell at that upper mark as soon as they saw a red tick in there, because you have it right there. It has it hits red, and that's where you wanted to sell. Then it went green and went back up to that level, so you could have made your sells.
Yeah.
And then waited to come back down and buy at this lower level here. Where those of us who entered earlier, at say the 25-cent range, and we've continued to buy in more as it goes down, to lower our actual initial cost.
Yeah.
We still have to wait for it to go up.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, am I worried about it going up? No. Like I said, I just set my my sell order at 27.275, and I'm not going to worry about it. But that's one of the things that the new guy out there, or someone who hasn't been in the market for a long time, has to not worry about price drop.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's definitely a lot of people that were panicking. As soon as this dropped the other day off the highs, people were absolutely lighting up Twitter, like freaking out almost. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, this was obviously buy the rumor, sell the news, and they sold the news on the 1,200% revenue increase, right? And then it was just like, well, heck, how cheap can I actually buy this company that's growing at that pace? I mean, and for instance, Mike says in chat here, we live in a median image driven market. So with their
I'm reading it now. There you go.
With them going ahead and increasing their presence, hopefully that's going to go ahead and that's going to spurt even further revenue. I mean, it's all speculation. It's a stock market, right?
Yeah. Right. And here you could have gotten that 10% scalp that he was talking about.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
But like I said, I'm just trying to teach you from two ways. One, if you entered and it ran up like that, you needed to get out. Pigs get fed and hogs get slaughtered.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite sayings.
So you can't hang with it. You have to look at how much are they running the price up, and how much did they? 2 cents? A penny and a half?
Yeah, and you know what? I also think that a lot of people are going to be revenge trading, because of the drop off from the top. I have a feeling
Right.
that a lot of people are going to be revenge trading, and you and I both know that revenge trading is,
Yeah.
pretty much the epitome of
Yeah.
a bad characteristic.
Well, yeah, because you're putting emotion into the equation.
Yeah, you got to be like a robot.
Yeah. And you can't. You can't be afraid. If you're constantly having to sell because something drops, and you're afraid you're going to lose your money, you need to go get a mutual fund.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree.
Okay.
Out of curiosity, what are your thoughts about of the warrants being exercised on TRKA? Like, would you assume that that would be bullish, or do you think that that would be bearish? Um,
Well, I think it's any time people start exercising a warrant,
it should be good, right?
that's a bullish sign.
Yeah. I mean
Yeah,
that's my opinion. I mean, like,
yeah,
why would you exercise it if if you think that the company is trash? It just doesn't make sense.
true. And you're going to exercise it because you think you're going to make money on it.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. So,
People. I think
but
I think
here,
people have way too short term of like thinking. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Rather than like hey, well, what if I wait a little bit longer? You know?
Well, see, patience is the hardest thing I I've found for an investor. All right,
Oh,
you
absolutely.
you can't sit there with sweaty fingers,
Mm.
with your finger on the sell or the buy button, and just in fear. You can't do it
Well, you won't
because
last. You won't last.
yeah,
I mean, I think the
you,
average investor
neither
lasts
will
like
your
2
money.
years, right?
Yeah, and neither will your money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know.
So,
Absolutely not.
but you you know if this were just a single up and down one, sort of like Boyle,
Huh?
they're they're coming up and down. We had a warm uh, February, and now we've got a cold March.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see a difference at the end of the month when April shows a higher draw than expected for a standard March, and then the price will go up.
Okay.
Part of me wants to call some friends that probably did at any rate, go over and blow the pipeline again.
Oh. Oh boy.
And um, because that ran it up to 140 last
I
week.
called it. I called it on live at 114 on Gush, and I didn't take it, and I just that's a larger regret. But we could sit here and play the shoulda coulda woulda game all day long.
Yeah,
To me, it's all about just shaking it off and just looking at the next trade and remaining as
and that's
emotionless as
it.
possible.
Yeah, it's like it's a marketing technique you have to get in your mind. It's okay. This didn't work. Next. Okay, it did work. Fine. Next.
Yeah.
And that needs to be your focus. Whatever happened or didn't happen
Mm-hmm.
is irrelevant because it's water under the bridge. It's next,
Yeah.
and you go from there.
Yeah.
Like I said, patience is going to be the key.
Yeah.
And if you wait, like I said, I put my sell order where I'm going to make about 30% profit.
There you go. There you go.
and go from there. If I'm making 10%,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm fine. As far as my trading plan. If one of these things is going to go higher, I'm not going to have my finger on the sell button.
Well, that's exactly how I feel. Like I have a
up.
plan. Like I certainly have a plan, but at the same time, we've seen this chart go absolutely ballistic. So if it's going on like nearly vertical, I'm certainly not gonna go ahead and pull the trigger just yet.
Right. And no one, and you should. But once again, you have to watch this stuff, and there are a lot of people who can't.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, then just set your sell order in there, and don't put a stop.
Well, you see me on all day, every day. I'm as persistent as they come. So I will. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna brave the storm. I just don't like the stop loss rating and like all that nonsense. Because with the level 3, you're giving like the large institutions everything that they need to know in order to go ahead and stop you out of the trade. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. I mean, you're advertising here. Come take my shares.
Yeah, I just, yeah. So I mean, like,
Yeah.
obviously trailing stops and stops and like they're certainly great situationally, right?
Well, see, that's a point you just kind of made. It needs explanation for the new guys out there. There's a thing called level 3.
Can you do that? Can you explain that? And I'm gonna actually let Lucky out while you explain that, and I'll be right back.
Sure.
All right.
Level 3 shows all of everyone's stop positions. In other words, here this person has a stop at X price, and you can see them all. When you see these lines, these red buys or sell lines, suddenly drop from one point to another, especially these large ones. We call that a stop rate because that is what they're after, all those people with stops. And they just bought your shares cheap.
Now, can you explain the difference between that and say something like like an iceberg bid? Are you familiar with an iceberg bid?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've
So,
done it, but I know what you're talking about. It says the volume and the price increase.
it's like it's showing a much bigger order than what it is, right?
You've got that larger area underneath the ocean that's much larger, and that is usually what they can see on level 3. With your with all your stop sells there. So they pay a lot of money for that, by the way.
Question. I don't think I've ever asked you this. When you had the fund, right? What
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming you were using terminals, right?
Yeah, I had different guys who ran different things.
Okay, I was just wondering if you ever used S3 before.
I personally didn't.
Okay, because I've emailed them. I'm looking for a price tag. I've emailed them looking for a demo, and I've heard that they're great, but obviously their customer service kind of sucks. So I just wanted to see if you had any experience with them.
Well, I was using for me personally, since I was doing the different things in the oil and gas industry. I had a little program from Houston that ran me $25,000 a year.
Wow. And
All right.
and what Bloomberg Terminal is what, like, isn't that like $18,000 a year? I think.
Something like that. Yeah, I don't know what it is right now, but yeah, if like I said, I wasn't looking over the guy's shoulders because the people I had in place were some of the best.
Yeah. I mean, when they're making a lot of money, I'm sure you're really not asking too many questions.
Right, and you know, you give them what they wanted, and one of my I guess marketing points to get them
Uh,
to come work for me was they got a percentage of the profit.
well, that's the best part to keep people interested. That's why I love. I mean, prior to obviously like going full on trading, I always worked commission jobs just because I feel like I want it more than my
Yeah.
my peer.
Well, see, these were much more. I mean, they got a paycheck,
Yeah.
but what they got was part of the. It wasn't coming as a commission per se. It came as like Gary is one of the best guys I've ever met that can do options. He'll sit there and write them all day long.
Okay.
And he'll cover the spread. He'll have everything down. And he makes a ton of money.
Okay.
In fact, he does that sitting in his house. He's got a 5,000 square foot house down outside Tampa in a gated community, a U-shaped thing that's covered in screens with swimming pool in the middle and all that good stuff.
And what's he doing? He's just selling debit spreads?
He's just writing options.
Huh.
He's sitting there doing options. You know, if he's not trading the ones that are there, then he's going to write them himself.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I'm just trying to figure out his tactic. I like personally when I'm running when I'm running more like higher priced options, I'm trying to run straddles and strangles just because of the higher. I just have a higher success rate. However,
Well, here's what I can tell you.
what's that?
The guy was, making 9 figures was what he was making in his with his trade. I mean, in profit. See, when I said a share of the profits.
Yeah, of
not
course.
commission based. In other words, he got 45% of what he made.
That's
working
very
with other
impressive.
people's money.
That's impressive.
Right? And if you can still turn around and give your customers, which were in my case a lot of small businesses.
Okay.
All right. If you can give them 20-25% a year, then they're going to be as happy as a pig in crap.
Yeah. Okay. And then the rest goes to your rep. Well, went to your rep.
Well, it goes into the company. Well, like I said, he got his percentage off the top, and back up. You had to look. Here was my total for options trading. And you do the different areas, and we made X amount of dollars in profit from options trading.
Okay.
So Gary got 45% off the top. And then we can take that 20%, or take the remainder of that 55%, and then put that in the pool with the rest of the profits.
I could be wrong right now, but I could be wrong right now.
Offsetting, but you had to or offset a loss.
T-
Be
TRK.
ready to do that.
I hate to interrupt you, Neil. TRKA might be trying to find a bottom right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at your stuff.
Oh, okay.
As we're talking.
I just figured I'd tell you in case you were looking.
Yeah, I had the sound off so we don't get any backfeed. But once again, you have to be ready to offset a loss and still give your customer what they are sort of expecting from you, and then the remainder went to the company and stayed in the company fund, so you had the ability to fund different things.
Ooh.
And for me, I just took a yeah. See,
they're doing it again.
They're dumping it down. Yeah.
They're doing it again, and then they're watch.
Yeah.
I bet you they eat it right.
That would have been a stop. That would have just taken out the stops right there.
Yeah, right at 20 cents too. Watch them bring it. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought it down right, like high 19s. Yep. See, high 19s, and then let's see if we go right back up. Let's see.
They may take it. They may take it a little lower.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I'll probably end up buying more if they do. To be quite honest.
It wouldn't surprise. Let's put it this way: it wouldn't surprise me, because if you've got people who are sweaty fingered right now.
Yeah, I mean, you don't think the other day, because they had over 100% of the free float on loan. It was like 107 or 116 or something like that, right?
Right.
And then like their short interest was well over 100% of the float. You don't think that they covered in the 2-day period, right?
I don't think they're covering at all, to be candid with you.
Really?
Yeah, it's because these are naked shorts.
Man, oh man, that is interesting to say the least.
I mean, that's what everyone's been talking about, and that's one of the reasons I said, okay, let's jump in on this company, and I can use it for multi-teaching. There's a multitude of items here that can be taught, and and how they're doing this and where they're taking this, and that sort of thing. Now, what would be interesting is to see whether or not they take it below the GAN fan.
I don't think that they're going to here. Let's see.
Yeah.
And for anybody watching, this is why GAN fans, I believe, are very, 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 very helpful, because you could see the lines, and as they come down to the lines, sometimes they'll wick off the lines and then totally reverse course. And it basically just, helps you determine different levels.
Yeah. But like I said, if they drive this down more, then okay, drive it down more.
Yeah. So
I know by at least the next quarter's briefing, this will run up to, if nothing else, by the height.
So just, I guess, overall, little summary. You think it's bullish that they exercise warrants, and you also think that it's bullish that they increase revenue by 1,200%. And I'm assuming that you think that it was also oversold by like by the rumor sell the news.
Yeah, I do. Plus, we know that the shorts are in charge, so they're manipulating the price.
Okay.
And they're going to do that in a way that they can attract a buyer. I've said it before, for some reason, people are drawn to a stock when it's going up and they want to buy. They're they're trying to run and catch the speeding train.
Yeah, and half the time they end up like a bug on the windshield instead of I don't know. So some of my best trades have literally just been eyeing the bottoms, right? And
Yeah,
just
look at it.
I
There
see,
it goes.
yeah, I see it. But some of my best trades have just been eyeing the bottoms and then just going ahead and just like, periodically, like if it dips a tiny bit, I'll just go ahead and load even more, load even more, load even more. And, some of those end up being the best ones for me.
Well, if they are walking it down,
Mm-hmm.
it behooves you to go on and buy when you see it down at the bottom sort of area like this. And when you lay it out with horizontal lines,
Uh-huh.
and you can kind of catch that bottom
Yeah.
across the board, and it's consistent or in that neighborhood, you can always put a buy order down in there.
Yeah.
And get that stock. And when they do that jump up, however much they're going to run it or have been running it on a before they dump it, you can get in there underneath that and get a quick scalp. If you're buying on their coverage, over the top of their coverage,
Uh-huh.
and selling underneath their cells,
Uh-huh.
then that is kind of what I mean by shorting the shorts.
By shorting the shorts, yeah. I mean, we gotta find the most ideal ways to win, and
Right.
that certainly seems like one of them.
Yeah, and that's why I was looking at what the AI section of this chart was giving us, so you can maybe predict where the shorts are going to do their thing per se. It's at what levels.
Yeah.
Or be able to go back and analyze that across the board and say, okay, first thing in the morning they go here.
Here's a 5-minute chart. I just pulled it up just in case this helps you at all.
Yeah, because what you're looking for is that horizontal line to give you across the a wider look at where the bottoms are.
Yeah, exactly. And what I did here was I just went ahead and I hit the bottoms on these two candles. I hit, pretty much where this is almost like an unch candle, or a doji, excuse me. And then I'm just under the tops of these. So, I mean, I figured that was damn close. And then underneath that, I mean, it might just go into free fall. So I don't know what to expect. You know what I mean? But
well, I mean
we'll see.
All you can do is make an educated guess, given their consistent bottoms,
and not be emotional.
Right? And if they go lower, then well, okay, they go lower.
Yeah.
If you got the extra powder to get some more, maybe you wait and see if they go lower again.
Yeah. No, I seriously bought this, I think 4 times today.
And if you're down in the 19 range,
well, I'm in the mid-20s now.
okay.
So I'm not up on the trade. However, on the first bull trap, I believe that my fill was 64 cents. Well, I thought it was a bull trap. It was a sell-off, right? I just thought that they were trying to scare people. So I wanted to go ahead and I grabbed that, and then it came down even further. I was like, oh well, hell, I might as well throw a couple bucks at it and lower my average again. Next thing I know, I had a like a mid 50s average, and then now it's just getting pummeled. But at the same time, I believe in the fundamentals, and it's turning more into a like a I don't know the type of trades that I've been killing. You know what I mean? As opposed to just like a stock picker type of trade, if that makes sense.
And that's one of the reasons I say you have to look at the short report and see how heavily it's being shorted,
Mm-hmm.
especially with the naked short. And with that, I automatically expect us, where the average, you're saying, well, I thought it would come here. I expect where it's heavily shorted like that, for it to go down 3 times that level.
Okay. Yeah. See, well, so at first I didn't know that it was a buy the rumor, sell the news. Okay. I thought that they were just like trying to cause a panic sell, which is I buy fear. I'm sure you do too. So when I see blood in the streets, I'm buying typically. I saw it shoot right down from what like 90 cents down to like 60, and I was like, huh, this might be a half decent entry, and then yeah, I mean now it's at 20 cents. So
Yeah,
mid 20s, I feel okay with the fundamentals.
right. And my initial buy-in, and what I was saying the other day was, what, the 25,
Mm.
because it had gone down 3 times. And it's still going more. So 3 times is just for me is just a starting point.
Okay, so you're saying that after something or when something's going down on a short, you're expecting that they're gonna short it down to about like 1/3 of the price tag
Right, or more.
or more. Okay, all right. I'm definitely gonna have to note that.
At 1/3, you start watching it. I actually bought in the other day, so once again to say I had skin in the game, and it wouldn't surprise, it didn't surprise me when it dropped a couple of more times.
Yeah, I mean, when I started buying it, I left myself dry powder in order to go ahead and keep DCAing it in case it kept dropping like it did. So I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, now
It,
it's in the ballpark where like for instance, and like GBTG. I don't know if you remember when we were doing that or NWTN. These like they came towards the bottoms and they started to cup out, and
right,
then that's when I was deploying capital, and then all of a sudden they were like 3xing. You know what I mean? So it's starting to feel like a trade like that. And
right.
I mean, we'll see what happens. Obviously, you know what I mean. But it just seems like it's that type of a movement.
Right. And the only negative I've seen about or read about the company, and that came from Christine, and she was over on Twitter. She doesn't like the management of the owner, but
Okay.
that's about it.
Okay.
And that's the only negative I kind of caught out there. Uh, Christine's pretty savvy, plus she's hot.
I mean, personally, I like numbers over people's feelings, so I like the revenue increase
Right.
over
Well, no,
her.
that was just one of her DD things.
I got you. I got you.
Because management,
Oh well,
you
management
know,
means everything. Just look at BBIG and
yeah,
Mullen. I mean, like, I don't even want to talk about those investments, but
yeah,
management is absolutely everything. And I think that now with like the CEO block and everything going on, with the CEOs kind of like coming out and fighting the naked shorts, I think that is a huge deal, and I think that more and more companies have to go ahead and you know, I think that they have to do it. I think it has to be, almost like accounted for within the budget. I think that they need shareholder advocates, and I think that they need to produce like more news and more updates.
And that's true. And that's where a good public relations department comes in.
Yeah.
It's that's a biggie. And now they're trying to run it back up here, so they can sell a bunch more at the higher price. But let's look and see how much, monetarily speaking, they take this up.
Okay.
And that's because it gives you an idea. And look at each of them, how much they run it up. So it gives you a feel of, okay, if I bought in down here at this bottom point, and they've run it up. Let's see, what's that? Half a cent, maybe. If you're doing a scalp, people go, gosh, half a cent. But at this price level, you're trading how many thousands of shares?
Yeah. When you're trading that many, like lots like that, and like a penny is a large percentage, it adds up very, very quickly.
And I'll tell you, before Trump lost the election, the OTC was
fire. You said, right?
Booming. Yeah, it was an old West boomtown.
Hey Neil, give me 1 second. I just have to switch dogs. Bella wants to go outside, and I have Lucky at the door. Just give me 1 second, okay?
Got you covered.
1 second.
So, but yeah, so he doesn't have dead air. The OTC is a good place to make profit, but it is the Wild West, and you can get shot in the back real quick.
And the problem with that is, in my opinion, like I have a handful of OTC stocks at the moment, but the issue for me is that like the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, like they're not even being regulated, how they should be. So how should I trust something that's going to be, less regulated as well? You know what I mean?
This kind of, I saw well, let's use the old West terms, lawlessness and outlaws just kind of, when the OTC market died off, and that was right when they didn't re-elect Trump, it kind of moved up to the lower priced stocks on these on the main exchanges, because it became a ghost town down low. No one wanted to do anything there because they were so afraid that the market was going to crash under Biden. And and we were talking the main market earlier. I haven't seen the market like this since Carter.
And that's saying something, because he's, well known for being the worst president.
Well, yeah, pretty much. Well, let's just say naive was a cornerstone there.
Okay, Mike actually has a question for you. Mike asks if you see a resolution for naked shorting, at any point, in the near future.
I don't.
You don't see.
I don't.
You don't. Not even with that upstream thing.
Yeah, Not until all these little companies band together and try and through legal means force it.
Yeah.
You know, you've got some starting, but until you get all these smaller companies like this that are willing to spend a couple of dollars, and you know, in some cases you're having to spend $150 an hour or $1,000 an hour on an attorney. That's not doable for a lot of little companies.
But you know, if you think about it, if their stock prices are being so heavily manipulated, right, it almost pays for itself.
Yeah. So you know, like right now, how far are we up?
I mean,
we're
that
getting
that
up almost a penny.
yeah that candle right there went from 2030 to approximately right up to 200. Yep, 2061. So a fraction of a penny, but I mean, a nice move nonetheless for something like this.
About a third of a penny. Yeah, but from the very bottom down there at 19 whatever.
Yeah, I mean that was a nice move. I mean, I could,
a penny.
like, obviously, because of my earlier entries, I would be on the losing side of it. But I mean, I would, if I just traded it today, I would have an excellent gain. I mean, it's
right.
So it just, I guess, accepting, like, knowing the trade and then executing the trade. And I think right now there's so many plays out there that a lot of people are saying, like, ooh, piece of candy, rather than, you know, going ahead and, you know, executing upon plays that have a lot of DD done and, you know, have things in motion. And I think a lot of CEOs are also trying to take advantage of, you know, like the retail movement by doing these offerings after they're talking about joining, you know, to fight shorts. You know what I mean? I think that's, you know, a crime in itself as well.
Yeah, but your key things here, especially if you're trading on a day trade,
mm-hmm.
you want to make sure that this is the bottom.
Yep.
Before you enter, and that you're going to be catching an upturn like this, so you can sell. I'd be looking at selling somewhere in here because on average, they've been going up about a penny before they dump it over. If you're in it higher,
just a little bit higher. I mean, I'm definitely not going to come out with I'm not going to allow myself to come out with a loss on this one. If I have to wait a little bit longer, I have to wait a little bit longer. But I just don't see this thing staying under 30 cents. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's true.
At some point,
the shorts will take it up on their own.
Yeah.
You know, it's if nothing else, they'll do it and try to excite people and go put their guys on stock twips and go, oh, it's a new thing, it's gonna go up. They got something happening now, then, you know, and drive it up, and the followers will jump on it as it's going up, and they'll buy more, and because it is going up. And that's where you lose your money. You want to buy it down here where you know there's bottom.
Yeah, and
you want to
take profits. You're the financial advisor. I'm not, but taking profits means that you won't go bankrupt.
Yeah, but see where it's hitting the line there?
Yeah, the 200.
There it goes.
Yeah, it's at the 200 right now, just under VWAP.
Yeah, it did. As soon as it hit the line, you had some sell off. Now.
Yeah, right there.
It may go up more.
Let's see.
It may have been a fake.
Yep.
But if you took it, there we go.
We
But
have
if
the
you took it,
we have the 13 we have the 13 and the 24 through the 48.
yeah. And if you taken it, you would be in the money. If you're sitting here waiting for it to go up again, then you're wrong. It's that's for a day trade.
Yeah.
For those who entered earlier, the best you do for now is don't worry about it. Try and get your cost average down, since
Yeah.
it is at a lower price,
Yeah.
as much as you can. And then when it goes up to your sell point, whatever your profit is for your trading plan,
Mm-hmm.
you let it go and you take it then.
Yeah.
And if it goes up 200% more, I'm not going to know about it unless I happen to read about it, because I'm going somewhere. I'm already working somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, like I always say, I swing for doubles, and when I swing for doubles, the home runs they'll come. You know.
Right.
So we'll see.
And that's true. And it's sitting right there on the line.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It is pegged. It is. I've noticed. I've also noticed like just a lot of things just literally just moving sideways, almost with dojis.
Yeah.
On the
Well,
on the 200
here,
on the VWAP, and then like I've also noticed recently a you know how Bitcoin, you actually brought this up, how Bitcoin was leading the queues, which was leading the SPY. Um,
uh
Over the last 2 weeks, there were 3 days, I believe, where there was actually a divergence in between what Bitcoin and then the overall market was doing, and then all of a sudden there was the bank, like this big bank issue. Isn't that a little bit weird?
it's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure they lost money on playing Bitcoin and playing crypto.
Or
But
or they have a lot of things on their balance sheets, right? And because their stock prices are dropping so much, right? They're running the prices up on cryptocurrency to use as collateral for their other securities on margin.
could very well be.
Right.
Could very,
I'm
very
not
well
crazy
be.
by thinking that, right? Like that's a two tinfoil hat
Yeah.
theory, right?
It's because there's so many people wanting to run crypto, especially out there. Now, if you look at this and how it's curved up along the line
Yep.
and it's staying there, what they're doing is using that to sell their shares.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
All right.
I see that
So,
I see the MACD coming down a smidge, but not
right.
too sharp.
Yeah. But they're using that to sell their shares. If you got 1 million shares sitting there, that's where you're going to dump them.
Yep.
And or maybe I'm dumping a little and going to drive the price up more.
Yeah. Hope gap up to VWAP. I'm sure that'll fill, but gap to VWAP. Let's see. There's the fill. Okay. Let's see if we go now. Man, oh man. I love TA. I really do love TA.
Yeah, but you have, for the guy sitting out there looking at his chart, you have to kind of understand, okay, what's going on here? What's causing this to go from a sharp up, right? And that's where level 2 comes in. Did they run this up like that, selling one share all the way up?
Because I pay for, call me crazy, but because I pay for Ortex, I just don't even have level 2 on what's it called on TradingView there. I'm currently looking at the order book on Ortex though, and I'm not seeing like one share, like one share orders, you know.
Right. there are some smaller ones, but I was talking about when it went up.
Oh, I don't know. No, I don't believe so. No, that it was getting a metric F ton of volume.
Okay. So what you have then is that sharp up is a few shares to drive it up, and then going across, you're selling a majority of your shares. If you can go up and sell them higher, then you do it, which is what you have here. But eventually, it's going to dump back, and then they'll cover.
I mean,
and that's the rhythm. The guy on sitting on the side has to understand what is going on here. Why is that going up and doing it this way? Where do I look for a top to sell?
now when they went ahead and they released their earnings, with that revenue increase, I mean that pretty much just destroys the short's thesis, in essence, right?
Well, it's once again we're not looking at your standard. Let me go borrow your shares shorts.
Yeah, we're talking about like infinite liquidity here. So
yeah, we're talking big time guys with big computer models that are gonna go sell hundreds of cells at one time, or do hundreds of buys at one time, and it's either going to take the price up or take it down, but they're going to make money on it because they've got so many shares that don't exist that they've sold and buying.
Yeah.
And now think about this.
What's that?
If I've got 500 million shares that are naked, and the stock goes to zero,
you don't have to pay those back.
I don't have to cover.
And I almost think that that's like I don't know if I call it money laundering. I don't know if it's not counterfeiting because it's not fake money, but
it's fraud.
Well, yeah, it's fraud. I mean, like it's just creating their own infinite, infinite liquidity stream, which I think is ridiculous. But that's the fight we're in, right?
Yeah, and that's what the big companies do. They're going to take your money if they can. You just have to learn and be smarter than they are, or be able to, at least work where you can make some profit inside their operating zone.
Yep. Find a strategy that works for you and then just rock it, basically.
Right. And go from there. Don't worry about the woulda, shoulda, coulda crap.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So other than that, it's that was my main points about this particular stock. And eventually, like I said, for me, my profit zone is at 27.5 cents. And it's even going to be higher now that I bought all this stuff down low. Is it going to happen? Is it going to happen today? Doubtful.
We've seen it move. We've seen it move in crazy ways, though, Neil.
But you got to look at these aftermarkets too. These things will do some really weird stuff. I've seen some of these prices go way up and go way way down, and
on decent volume too.
Entries, yeah, and and some of my best entries were either pre or after hours.
Yeah.
So being able to trade in there and watch those is also a key item.
A lot of people don't even realize that they could trade in pre and after hours, and I can't fathom that.
Well, one of the biggest myths is that OTC stocks can't be traded in after hours.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wrong. You know, there are people who will. I've gone through stock twits and read stuff, and will stomp up and down, and because someone told them.
Oh, I hate that. People just need to do their own research.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, all you got to do is Google it.
It's really that simple. And you know what? Like sometimes Google is going to give you some mixed results on some on some shady characters. You know what I mean? They're not going to be the best sources. But then you just got to sift through them.
You bring up Wikipedia Finance.
Yeah, I did a video. I did a video today on neuro, and I had to use Wikipedia as a source of to list their partners. I obviously don't like using Wikipedia, but I mean, sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and if it's accurate, right?
And that's true, but never trust what a person says is fact. Double check it yourself.
Absolutely.
How long does it take to Google? Google
probably 10 seconds.
Take you right to the SEC page and give you the reg there.
Yeah.
It's just be careful who you go look for versus here's shady character company versus here's the SEC.gov or
hey, does TRKA look heavy here to you?
I think it's going to drop back down.
I think it's gonna come back down and then obviously move back up. But yeah, it looked a little bit heavy there for a second. That MACD started to curl down and yeah.
And there it goes.
Yeah, and the 200's right there.
That big curve, as you're looking at the chart, the big curve going up is just them selling their short sells.
Okay.
At the highest possible prices, and then they'll take it back down and buy it back at the lowest possible prices.
Man, they are such grind balls.
And how much they do it is that. But now, once again, if you can sit there and look at this and have the patience and watch it and know that okay, we still need to look and watch, but as soon as you got that one big red line that to me said sell.
That one right there that I'm pointing at?
Come right there, yeah.
Yeah. So what I saw the indecision right here on this one. See how it has obviously.
Yeah, I looked at look at the one just before that. That's a good pre-indicator that it's going to probably start going down as soon as you see a red tick.
However, I saw that was literally maybe like like a half an inch above the 200, and I figured if it came down, it might spin off that too, and hopefully I'm right here, but
and these are where your lines come in. Those your scan fans and those moving average lines, all of those can give you a point where the shorts computer systems are going to now sell off or make a change in some way.
Yeah.
But they're going to maximize how many shares they can get sold at these higher prices, and then just dump it off and buy back as many as they can, or if not all of them.
We might just we might just pop the VWAP here and get out of this GAN fan. To be quite honest with you, it's kind of getting a little bit close.
It could be. They could run it up to the that 21-cent marker, but I doubt it. Yeah, well, it's getting close to 3. You don't know.
Yeah, it's right there. Yeah. Let's see.
Yeah, yesterday afternoon, that's what they did. They ran it up before close, and then took it down after close.
I have a feeling that no matter which way this trade is going to take us, I feel like we're going to end up on the on the right side of things. So yeah. I'm confident.
And for here, I'm just talking for the guy who's day trading. Yeah, you won't go wrong if you sold in here. Take that profit, and then if you wanted to do it again, wait till it goes. Check to see what the low is going to be again, because you kind of know where they seem to have bottomed.
Yeah, we're about to get this 24 across the 200 as well. It's grinding higher. We'll see. But
eventually, if not today, maybe next, sometime this week or next week, it's going to hit that low, and essentially, it's going to hit our target price, given that we entered earlier.
Yeah. Well, technically, maybe it was a little bit late compared to everybody else, but we might have got the better fill, right?
That's quite possible too. But no, it's I'm going to do my best to try and get my buy cost average is going to be much lower than what it was. So when it does hit that target sell price, I know that my profit margin is going to be higher than what I had originally planned for.
Well, you can't complain about that, right? More money is always a good thing.
and it's just, once again, it's just a matter of being patient. Not worrying. You're not going to lose the house. You're not going to, kids are going to go to college. That sort of thing, and you might actually have some more money if you get patient with it and not get sweaty fingers.
Yeah, absolutely. No, yeah. Patience is probably the hardest thing to grasp, in my opinion. I know that for me, it was absolutely the hardest thing. And sometimes I even still struggle with it. You know what I mean? But I know that I'm a much better trader when I am patient, and it's something that I think that we should all strive to do. But, at the same time, there's also being too patient, which, nobody wants to be too patient and, obviously hold something for too long. So I'm a huge fan of DCing in it and out.
There's a chart, that shows a combination of stock traders' elation and remorse. And the process, the different steps they go through, to include lying to themselves as it's going down. There's I don't know. I thought I put that on Facebook there for you guys, but it's out there. Look up stock traders remorse or something like that. There's a little chart out there that it shows a full range of emotions that your trader goes through in conjunction with the buying a stock and it going up and then turning around and coming back down.
Oh, I've seen. I know what you're talking about.
You know the one I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, that's a good one for a new trader to look at.
Hell, it's a good thing for an old trader to look at sometimes.
That's true. Yeah, to remind them. But if you're emotional about any stock,
you probably shouldn't be trading.
Yeah, you don't need to be in it. You can't fall in love with the stock. You may be in love with their product, but you can't be in love with the stock.
No, well, and you know what? That's kind of when I was referring to, or when I was talking to you about the whole AMC ape arbitrage opportunity, right? It's not like I'm in love with the whole AMC play, right? I'm just seeing the opportunity. At one point in time, I was able to buy, I believe it was like 5 ape for 1 AMC, and they still have they had the same voting rights. Like what? And they're going 1-to-1. It makes absolutely no sense, and there's still a price discrepancy. Like AMC right now is at, like, I believe it was 412 last I looked, and ape is at 140.
Yeah, MH put it on. Uses RSI. I was looking at your comments here. He used the RSI for the overbought and oversold for his scalp. So,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's a ton of different things you can use. That's one. Your different level lines are another. Your Gantt fans. I mean, it's just and crosswalking them between several of these is even better.
Well, yeah, and I try, and I'm stressing I try because sometimes I disobey.
Right.
But I try to make sure that
you have trouble because you're running the show.
Yeah. So when prior to me streaming, right, I was making a lot more money on call options. I was making more money selling calls. And then I got to a point where I didn't know if the market was going to keep going down heavy, right? So I didn't want to keep selling calls. I figured, I'm gonna accumulate, right? And then that way I could go ahead and I could sell calls later if it came down to it. Unfortunately, I guess I, mistimed that a little bit, and I'll get back to it, obviously,
Right.
In the near future. However, at the current time, I'm just, a couple options here, a couple options there, but really, for me, it's about accumulation at these, like dirt prices.
Right, and I think once we get a heavy recession in, where everyone is saying, yeah, we're in a recession, those are the times, and I can look at it given the, who's in office sort of thing, and you can backwalk this. Let's just say you could probably easily backwalk it to when McCain first came into office as a junior senator with the S&L scandals, which initiated one. But you can walk that forward looking at the different presidents and under presidential things, because you had these steep upturn markets,
Uh-huh.
and then they crashed.
Okay.
Because, you had a government that supported those type of things. Under Carter, you had that, like I said, we had.
Was it Volcker that
I'm trying to think.
Was
my first house loan? I bought a house when I came back from Germany. My loan, my VA loan was 9.5%.
Any guess what they are now?
We were, yeah, because we had 13% inflation.
13
That's where it maxed out under Carter. So of course you had a recession to go with that. Then your next big recession was the tech crash under Clinton.
Mm-hmm. And then what, the 08?
And at the beginning of end of Bush and the beginning of Obama, they say the Republicans. I say if you go look at Barney Frank and the Frank Dodd bill that forced banks to loan to people with no credit. There's a big difference between deserving a home and earning a home.
Absolutely.
But everyone deserved a home. So you had now a big hole that caused the crash.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, I blame Dodd-Frank on that one.
Hey, Neil, question for you.
We haven't had one since then.
Question for you. So we just got into Power Hour. Okay, question. I would really like to talk to you about a potential ape fund, right? Is there a way that I could call you back after the market is closed and you and I could, just BS a little bit in regards to that, off the record, of course?
Sure.
Okay. All right.
Not a problem.
Cool. All right.
I did talk to. You asked me a question earlier, and I did talk to my lawyers, and they said, "Sure, you can do that. You just have to give all your money back."
Oh boy. Okay.
It's part of the contract.
Yeah. How long is that NDA? Is that are you tied up in that NDA?
NDA was one thing, and that had me dealing in the market.
Okay.
Apparently, part of the contract is I'm retired.
Oh, okay. So not even a whole partially retired. What about a consultant? Can you consult?
You can always give someone an opinion. You just can't take any money for it.
Okay.
It's that sort of thing.
Hey, let's talk about that in after hours.
Okay.
And I'll give you a call in about an hour, 10 minutes. That way I could cool off after the close. All right.
Yeah, not a problem. I need to get some more iced tea anyway.
All right. Hey, I think I just want to go ahead and say thank you for absolutely everyone in here, everybody who's going to watch this video. And you know how much you mean to this community, Neil.
Well, like I said, if I can help somebody make some money, then we'll be doing good. You guys try not to have too much fun now.
All right. Talk to you in a little bit, Neil.